Welcome back everyone to our playthrough of the career mode here in NASCAR Heat 2. So we're coming off of what I will consider to be a great run, getting a top 10 at New Hampshire. I mean, Loudon is a very difficult track, a lot of heavy braking, and as I talked about before, it's essentially just a bigger version of Martinsville. So braking, very important, and our car was everywhere under braking. Very unstable, made it very difficult, and somehow we brought home a top 10. So I'm very happy about that, but now it's time to go back to the big tracks. We're going back to Indy, where it is wide open, really fast, and thankfully in this game, Indy races a little bit wider than in real life. Now in real life, you don't run 2x2 at Indy for very long. You can get by with it for a few corners, but in general, you're not going to run side by side very much at Indy, simply because of track considerations and also aero considerations in the cars. But here we don't have to worry about any of that, so it enables us to have some really good racing at times at Indy. Now the challenging thing at Indy is because of the setup that we're going to be using, it makes it difficult for us to get through the corners and carry a lot of speed. Well, that becomes even more important at Indy because you have those long straightaways, and if you can't carry speed, particularly through turns 2 and 4, then you're going to have a really difficult time making passes down the straightaway. So this should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get started. Before we get the race started, let's take a quick look at the setup, and very similar again to what we've been using at all of the tracks, which is great for me. It's really nice to be able to have one setup that can give you similar types of results and handling characteristics at a lot of different tracks. So very briefly, we're using 100 pounds of rear spring split. That won't be near enough for what we need, but it should make things fairly difficult for us as far as passing. And then under miscellaneous settings, we're using 8.5 inches on both the left and the right side track bar. Again, very minimal camber, lower track bar, very little rear spring split. Should make things very challenging. Let's get the race started. All right, here we go. Green flag from Indianapolis, and we have a 21 lap race, and of course, as always, we'll be starting from the back with no practice or qualifying laps. So it'll take us a few laps here to try to work our way through the 2 and 3 wide that we're going to get, but also to try to figure out where our markers are for braking and turn in, that kind of thing. Oh, and here they come, the miraculous AI, which can't get out of our way normally. As soon as you get off that bottom, boy, they take that immediate opportunity to jump right back under you. You can see clearly they have no speed whatsoever through the corner. But as soon as you get off that bottom, they cannot wait to jump inside you. Particularly at spots when you're not even on the gas. Alright, so right now, as I mentioned in the open, this isn't normally a track you can run 2x2 at in real life, but here in the game you can get by with it. Now what you don't want to do is get stuck up here. You want to get back to the bottom and try to stay there as much as possible. Because the bottom is realistically where you want to be. Particularly while they're 2 and 3 wide. Now, if you get to where you're running one-on-one against a car, then it's perfectly fine to take it outside. That can be done. Look at the cars we are passing here on the front stretch. Now, I'm going to get out of it a little bit here because I do not want to get stuck on the outside of David Reagan. Sometimes these guys can get really bunched up, and you might be plenty fast to make passes, but all the cars running together make it very difficult for you to find any room to pass. Look at Stenhouse there going all the way down to the bottom and then staying there even on the straightaway. Yeah, no, that's taking it all the way to the bottom there. Alright, so we're clear. I really don't want to go to the outside of Stenhouse, though. Ooh, watch out, missed my mark there. But actually, I think it's going to work out pretty good for us. So we'll get a pretty good run down the straightaway and make the pass on Stenhouse, at least. Alright, really good run off of the turn there. That's going to enable us to get to the inside of Danica Patrick. And also get a really good run onto the front stretch. So we've made our way up to 23rd position and we're 4 laps in, just finishing up that lap. Alright, let's see what we can do off of turn 2. Of course, I'm hoping we can get a really good run and continue making passes 2 and 3 cars at a time. That'll get you to the front in a hurry if you can do that. All right, there's no way he's getting below me. There's no way. I mean, that is beyond ridiculous. At this point in the game, I can tell I've been playing this game for quite a while and going through now all 3 of the series, so some of these AI things are really on my nerves at this point. Alright, so I'm kind of hung right now. Alright, we're going to have a great run coming off the corner, and let's see what we can do down the straightaway. We should pick up at least 2 cars on this stretch. Yeah, it looks like about 2. Ooh, that was about to put us in the middle of 3 wide. So I backed out of that. We'll try to get below the 3 car and the 1 car. And the 14, wow, didn't expect to have enough speed to get to the 14, but thankfully we did, and we will take it now. That puts us up to the 17th position, now inside the top 20 solidly. And we got an opportunity to pick off several more cars on this straightaway. Wow, 3, 4 it looks like. Oh, somebody got us from behind. Good hard racing going into the corner there. Very nice. Now we'll get to Casey Kane. Looks like we're going to have no trouble getting to his inside. And are we going to make it to Junior? No, we are not. He's coming right down across our nose. But we are up in 12th now. Oh, Junior's really going to kill our momentum. We'll get a nice run on him coming off of turn 2. And you can see a little bit of free space in front of us, a little bit of empty track, and that is a great thing. Things are really starting to spread out when you get toward the top 10. Cars are a lot more distance between them. Now we're going to have another issue, and that is finding our sort of our corner entry points, our points where we need to start braking, lift off the throttle, and so on. And the reason I say that is because even though we're 9 laps in, or 8 full laps in, we've been running around so many other cars that I've had to judge my entries and braking points based on them rather than our own car. So for right now, I'm just going to try to feel this out and see what we've got. Alright, drove it in a little bit too far there, but not terrible. Alright, we are clearly coming in on Newman in a hurry, making up quite a bit of time on him. Looks like he's going to pull down and try to block. Ooh, I was going to take the outside, and then he comes back over in front. All right, we're going to have a great run coming off the corner. Newman's going to give us plenty of room, it looks like, as he runs the traditional line. And this should get us into the top 10. Yeah, drove it in too deep there. You can see pushes up the track. All right. So now we got by Newman and seem to be pulling away from him. We'll set our sights on the two cars immediately in front, one of which is Kyle Larson. The other is, okay, the Harvick. I see his nameplate starting to pop up. Again, we're closing in on these guys really quickly. We may be able to get both of these guys on this straight. And yep, looks like we're going to be able to get the inside of the 42 before corner entry. Ooh, that was a great corner. The best idea here is if you have to make a choice between going in too deep and going in a little conservative, go in a little conservative. Now, I have an extremely difficult time actually going through with that because my instinct is generally always going to be to drive it in there as deep as I can. That's just something I fight, one of my weaknesses. But if you'll take it a little conservative on entry, it will really help the center and exit of the corner, and that's exactly what you want. So if you're like me and you have issues driving it in too deep constantly, just try to remind yourself of that. Center and exit will be much better if you just take it a little easy on corner entry. Now obviously you'd like to hit it perfect every time, but if you can't get it perfect every time, which you can't, choose to back off a little early on entry as opposed to driving it in too deep. Alright, you can see we have chased down Chase Elliott pretty quickly here. And I don't know that we're going to be close enough to get him on this straightaway, but we definitely have him in our sight. So we're on lap 13 of 21, so we got several laps left. The problem we're going to have is that everything is so spread out now that we're going to have a real hard time getting anywhere close to the lead. Alright, see if we can get to his inside here on the front stretch. Ouch. Gives us a nice little pop there on corner entry. Ouch. Okay, there's another one. That was a pretty hard hit too. That hit was because we were in his lane. He wanted to be where we were. And of course you can also see he's right next to us, so he has successfully managed to take speed out of our car by giving us nice little jolts on corner entry. Now, of course in real life that would be a ridiculous tactic for a driver to use, simply because we ran him down quite quickly from behind, from several seconds behind, so there's no reason for him to attack us that hard. Alright, we should have a great exit to the corner, turn 2, and it looks like we've got, on quick glance out of the last corner, it looks like 4, maybe 5 cars in this next group. So you can see we are in 7th position right now. That would put us up on the podium, I believe, if I'm correct about the number of cars that are indeed in front of us. Alright, so we're going to have a great exit off of 4. And this should allow us to make up quite a bit of time, and the more they fight each other in front, the more we enjoy it. Because we have 6 laps to go. Oh, great exit there. That was a really good corner. Okay, another pretty good corner. Got into gas a little bit too quick. But overall, not bad at all. And you can see we're pulling right up to him. Looks like Brad K and Jimmy Johnson. Maybe Joey Logano. I'm trying to see who these guys are, as well as driving the car. So yeah, this could give us, if we could get by this pack, we could come home with a great finish. All right, 5 more circuits. All right, now we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to get by these guys, because they are all over the racetrack. And of course, Brad K is the one guy who's actually mad at us right now. So let's see if he races us clean, or if he decides to live up to the game's rivalry system and give us a hard time. So far, so good. Ooh, watch out. I really need these guys to get single file. Can't get by Brad K very easily if these guys keep running side by side, because they're taking up lanes and making me slow down. Alright, so we finally made that pass. It puts us up into position number 6. And let's see, am I going to be able to get it to the inside of the 22? I did, but then I had to get hard on the brakes just to make sure. Ouch. Thank you, Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, the AI has absolutely no problems popping you and trying to get positions that way. But it will not work. Alright, 22 is running wide. Now, we did touch, but that was about as slight a contact as you could possibly have. And definitely not anything that would send him off into the sunset like it did. Alright, so we need to get by Matt Kenseth here to get on the podium. And then we're looking front. I do see a couple of cars up there, but we're not going to have anywhere near enough time to catch them. So now we'll focus on trying to make sure we can secure this 3rd place finishing position and pull away from these guys. Even though I don't think I can catch those guys, that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Just in case they slip up. So, last lap. Alright, so you can see we've put a good bit of space now between us and that group behind us. Looks like these guys are fighting hard. I have no idea who that is in front of us. It looks like they're fighting hard for the victory. We're definitely running them down, though. That's no doubt about that. But we're simply going to run out of laps here. Overall, a very good race. Pretty clean race, too. Not too bad. We got popped several times on corner entries that killed our momentum, but overall, not bad at all. So we'll bring home that 3rd place finish. Let's see who got the victory. Martin Truex comes home with a victory. Okay, so it was he and Kurt Busch that were fighting it out. So we'll have to look at the standings, but I believe Truex already has a victory. And Truex, where is he at? Yeah, this gives him 2 victories on the year. And we're still at a point where I believe there are 8 drivers with a victory. Overall, even though this screen only shows 7, I believe there's one more person with a victory that's outside the top 10. So we also have the fastest lap, not bad. Alright, so before we close out the video, I do want to take just a moment and I want to go to the standing screen because I'm dying to know if I was correct about there being 8 winners so far this season. Now, we did not complete all the incentive contract goals. Oh well, no big deal there. So let's go ahead, and I believe it's going to have us pick out our next incentive contract. Yeah. So we'll just stick with, wow. Now this, to me, is very odd as a design choice. Because in the next 5 races, 4 wins is what you're expecting. 4, that shouldn't even be really doable, realistically. Unless you're playing on, easy difficulty and you're a really good driver. I mean, this shouldn't even be plausible in the real world to even think about winning 4 or 5 races. Now, I'm not saying it's never been done, but I'm saying it is extremely rare and definitely not something that you would ever plan on. So this is just odd to me that it's even in the game like this. So let's go ahead and do the easy one this time. I mean, top 5s, we're not really after top 5s. We do get some, just like we did at Indy. We get some top 5s, and obviously we get some victories along the way, but that's not really what we're shooting for, so we'll go with the top 15s, even though I already know we're not going to get this because of the qualifying in the top 15s, but not really something I'm too worried about. Let's go ahead and go to that standings and toggle it over to the standings that we do care about. And yes, there we go. We've got, look at Kevin Harvick. He's the one that's not in the top 10, I believe. Look at his points, 481, way behind everybody else. That's surprising. So we're at the top with 5 wins. Then you got Jimmy Johnson with 4, Kyle Busch with 3, and then 3 drivers with 2, and a couple of drivers with 1 victory. So that's filling out 8 of the 16 available slots so far in the playoffs. But again, what I really want to see is as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season, I want to see if anybody's going to make it in just on points. All right, but for now, let's take a look at what's coming up next, and it's headed back to Pocono. So we had a good race there the last time. We'll see if we can do it again. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more NASCAR Heat 2.